With a simple two-step process, the RTJ400 can produce massive 3/4 inch box joints in boards up to 1 inch thick for heavy casework or simple furniture. 3/4 inch box joints are routed with the included Leigh No. 143-500 3/8 inch straight bit and the E10 guide bushing. The optional Leigh No. 173-500 high-speed steel or 173-500C solid carbide spiral upcut bits may also be used. These bits are available at leejigs.com. You will also need to use some of the supplied blockers. Board widths for symmetrical and asymmetrical box joints are determined by the total number of pins and sockets in the joint. Symmetrical joints always have an odd number of pins and sockets, and start and finish with a pin or socket. Asymmetrical joints have an even number of pins and sockets, and always end with the opposite of what it started with. The quick reference strip is a handy guide to help take you through the steps of routing 3/4 inch box joints on the RTJ400. Check the board width chart on the quick reference strip to determine board sizes. Based on the approximate board width required for our project, which is 5 and 15/32 of an inch, our board will be symmetrical with 7 pins and sockets. To produce good box joints, boards must be flat with square ends and edges. We're using 1 inch thick boards, but board thicknesses may be different sizes to suit your project. Remember to mark the boards to indicate the inside or the outside face of the finished piece, as well as the edge that goes against the side stop. The Leigh E10 guide bushing is used for all box joint routing on the RTJ400. Fit the E10 guide bushing to the router table or router table insert and install it in the router table. Be sure the insert is orientated the same way every time an E-bush or bit change is made. All routing starts with the E-bush set in the number 5 position. With the power disconnected, install the Leigh No. 143-500 straight bit in the router. Note that with this router table setup, the E-bush was removed to install the bit. Make sure the bit spins freely within the guide bushing before reconnecting the power. Insert the right frame pin in the number 1 box joints hole and the left frame pin in the matching slot. If necessary, move the template clamp to the left and loosen the side stop and move it to the far right. Remove the stop rod and put the short end in the 3/8 inch box joint stop set hole on the template. Move the side stop to lightly touch the stop rod and tighten it with the hex key. Remove the stop rod and store it in the 3/4 inch slot. Place socket board 1 tight against the side stop with the bottom edge flush on the template and clamp it in place. Clamp a short scrap backer board firmly against the workpiece at least 1/16 of an inch from the edge of the socket board to prevent it from interfering with the side stop when the frame is repositioned in the second step. Use a pin board to set the depth of cut. Hold the board level on the template and pencil a line across. Adjust the bit height until the pencil is in the center of the pencil line. Bit height determines the flushness of the joint, so it's important to make sure it's set properly. After setting the bit height, you will want to do a quick fit test. Remove the pin board and route 2 scrap test boards back to back on the jig at the same time. Don't concern yourself about board edge alignment, the test is for fit only. The E-bush allows for very precise fit adjustments. If the joint is too loose, turn the E-bush to a higher number. If the joint is too tight, turn the E-bush to a lower number. Remember to retighten the E-bush after each adjustment. Once you've determined the perfect E-bush setting, record the bit number and setting in the user guide and on the quick reference strip. With pinboard 1 reinserted, you are now ready to make a box. The 3/4 inch box joint procedure requires routing in every second comb opening. Fit a supplied blocker into every even numbered opening across the width of the board. With safety gear in place, route into every open slot in the template. Make sure the guide bushing stays in contact with all guide surfaces of the template openings. Keep the template perpendicular to the line on the tabletop at all times. Routing the socket board is a two-step process. Leave the socket board and backer board in place. Unlatch the frame and move the right frame pin to the number 2 position. Relatch the frame. Once again, route in every open slot to widen the sockets to 3/4 of an inch. Unclamp the socket board and flip it over, keeping the same edge against the side stop. Route in each opening of the template, making sure the guide bushing stays in contact with all guide surfaces. Routing the other end of the socket board is done in reverse order. Leaving the backer board and blockers in place, move the right frame pin from position 2 back to position 1 and latch the frame. Route in each template opening. Finish routing socket board 1 and repeat the procedure for socket board 2. Remove the socket board. Leave the frame in position and the backer board clamped in place. To route the pin boards, the blockers need to be moved to the odd numbered openings. Clamp pin board 1 in place, tight against the side stop. As you did with the socket board, route in each opening of the template, making sure the guide bushing stays in contact with all guide surfaces. Unlatch the frame and move the right frame pin from the number 1 position to the number 2 position and relatch the frame. Again, route in each template opening. Flip the pin board, keeping the same edge against the side stop, and clamp it in place. Route in all template openings. Unlatch the frame and insert the right frame pin in the number 1 position. Latch the frame and complete the routing. Pin board 1 is now complete. Repeat the procedure for pin board 2. In some cases, there may be a very thin wall of wood where the bit has passed twice. This can easily be removed with a chisel, knife, or file. The boards are now ready for assembly. You must also check the flushness. If the joint is over flush, then you need to lower the bit. If it is under flush, you need to raise the bit. The pins and tail should be as flush as possible so that minimal sanding is required to clean up and finish the joint.